Hey everybody, you're listening to WVUD HD1 Newark, the voice of the University of Delaware. My name is Elliot Warburton, music director down here at the station, and today we have a very special guest calling in. He is currently on the road somewhere in the great American countryside. He is going to a show tonight. He'll have a show tomorrow night at the Queen in Wilmington. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Willie Nile. Willie, how we doing today?
Hello, Elliot. I'm doing good. It's good to hear your voice. I'm driving across the country somewhere that says Perryville. I don't even know what state I'm in, but I'm on my way to Sellersville. And tomorrow night we'll be at the Queen. I can't wait.
I'm sure all of our listeners in Harryville are like, "That's us. He's here."
I like the voice of the universe. I like that. That's good.
So how's the road been going for you so far?
It's going well. You know, we played last night in Richmond, Virginia, with a full band, and it's a great band. And every time we play, it just becomes more and more clear. Johnny Paisano on bass, Jimmy Bones on lead guitar, and John Weber on drums. They're really good guys. So I give everything I've got, but so do they, and it's so beautiful to see. You know, I'm really anxious for people to see them. I mean, Bruce Springsteen's played with us numerous times. Bruce is a great guy, and he's joined us at a charity event up in New Jersey, many times. And I'm a lucky dude.
How long have you been working with the guys you're touring with right now?
Well, Johnny Paisano since 2006. I've been with Johnny 20 years. And John Weber and Jimmy Bones, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, something like that. They're just really good guys, and boy, can they play. You know, anybody who wants to see really first-class musicians having a good time together, that's going to happen Friday night, yep.
Are they the same? Do you use them when you're recording in the studio too?
Yeah, the same. It's my band. When I make a record, we go in together as a band, as a unit, and we have a great time. You know, it's fun, it's funny. It comes across on the recordings. You can hear the fun we're having when we're recording, whether it's a serious song or whether it's a Saturday night party, let's have a good time song. You know, the band delivers it, and I just love playing with them.
It always is good to hear like that repertoire. Like it's one thing to see it on stage, but when you can kind of hear it on a record too, I think that speaks a lot to people as well. You're touring right now for the album you released last year, right? Or is that like the kind of forefront of the tour you're doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, I've been touring on. This has been a very busy spring for me. I was in Spain and in Italy, the Midwest, the West Coast, and the album is called The Great Yellow Light. It came out. My recent album came out last year, and The Great Yellow Light refers to one of the letters Vincent van Gogh wrote to his brother back in the 1880s when he moved to the south of France. He wrote his brother and said how inspiring the light was in the south of France. And that stuck with me, you know, the phrase, the great yellow light. And the world we're living in now, I mean, just turn on the TV, you know, we can use all the light we can get. So, and I was putting this collection together, I thought, I wrote a song, you know, not about Van Gogh, but with the title, The Great Yellow Light. It's a love song, but I wanted to title the album that and have the album be something uplifting, something feel good that could lift people's spirits. I mean, there's some serious songs out there. You know, there's a song called Wake Up America that Steve Earle sings a duet with me. There's a song called An Irish Goodbye, and Paul Brady, legendary Irish singer-songwriter, sings with me on that. It's a really good. I love the record. I'm really proud of it. Proud of how the band did. So yeah, I'm touring now behind this record and enjoying every minute of it.
Nice. How long ago did you encounter the letter from Vincent van Gogh? Is that something you saw like years ago? It's just like, ooh, I want to use that someday, or you saw it and it was just like, I've got to make an album around this.
So how long ago did I hear that Van Gogh quote? It was about 6 years ago. I came across one of Van Gogh's letters, which had the phrase, the great yellow light, referring to the light in the south of France. And last year when I was putting this album together, I thought it came to mind as I was putting songs together for the collection. And I thought, I'm going to write a song called The Great Yellow Light. So the south of France inspired Van Gogh. He inspired me, and I hope that this album inspires people who get to hear it.
When you said you were over in Europe in the spring, did you by any chance get to see that south of France area that he was talking about? Or
No, I was in Spain, touring in Spain in March, and then in Italy at the end of March and into April. So I didn't get to go to the south of France, but I had a great time in Spain and Italy. I'll tell you that. I mean, when you think about it, the different things you can do with your life, being an artist, a songwriter, whatever. And I mean, nothing's easy, whatever field you're in or want to pursue. And that goes the same with this. It has its high points and low points. But getting to travel, to go to Spain, to go to Italy, and different places around the planet has been a real joy for me. It's met so many good people along the way. And I've never played in Wilmington, Delaware. So it'll be the first time tomorrow night. And I can't wait. I just can't wait.
That was one of my questions that I wanted to ask you, and that a lot of people at the station wanted to know if you had ever been to Delaware before. But now that I know that you haven't, what are you expecting to see? Or is there anything you want me to warn you about, anything, or are you just excited to see how it goes?
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I've heard great things about the theater, the Queen, and I'm anxious to see. I like playing old theaters. I like the history of them. And in Delaware, I've had nothing but good reports, from about the venue and the state. I think I've driven through it, but I've never gotten to hang out. Never been to Wilmington. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm always open-hearted and open-minded about every place I go. And I'm looking for people who, care about things, open hearts, like to rock and roll, like to have a good time. And I'm expecting that tomorrow night.
Well, if you haven't heard it already, let me be the first person to welcome you to Wilmington. I don't think that you'll find anyone. I think that tomorrow night you're going to find yourself in good company with the crowd that'll be coming out. Delaware's full of humble people, so you don't have to worry about anyone raising Cain out there.
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for the welcome, Elliot. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to it. I mean, my band is a force. We're our own force. We have a great time. We're looking to have a good time and to share that with people. So, I mean, I can't wait. I like going to new places, and this will be a new one. I can't wait.
A couple of minutes ago, you were talking about the one song on your new album that you did with Paul Brady and Irish Goodbye. I was listening to that, and it was the first three songs, pretty good, straightforward rock and roll, and then here comes this fourth song that has a distinctly Irish flavor, and I was wondering what kind of made you think about recording a song like that, but I'm curious about what made you want to go down that path artistically.
My ancestors are mostly from Ireland, and last year my daughter Mary, who loves all thing Irish, she actually plays Gaelic football. I mean, she's crazy about Ireland. So she took her two kids and her husband. They went to Ireland for a week, had a great time, and I had a great phone call with her about it. And after we got off the phone, it just came to me, that phrase, an Irish goodbye, and I thought that could be a song. I mean, an Irish goodbye is when you leave an event without saying goodbye. You kind of slip out the door. It's not meant to be offensive in any way. If you and I were at a party, maybe early on, we might go up to the host and say, well, we're going to do an Irish goodbye later, but thanks for having the party. So it's not offensive in any way, and it's a celebration of life, really. And Paul Brady, legendary Irish singer-songwriter, was kind enough to sit with me on it. And I'm going to dedicate it tomorrow night to my father. My father, he passed 2 weeks ago. The last year I've been singing it every night, dedicating it to him. My dad was 108 and a half years old.
Wow.
He was the 16th oldest man in the U.S. 16th oldest man in the U.S., oldest man in New York State. Joe Biden gave him a call in November to wish him happy birthday on his 108th birthday, which was really, really nice of the president to do that. God bless Joe Biden for taking the time to call my dad. My dad meant the world to him and me. And the thing with my dad is he was 108 years old. He took no medication, none. And he was with it, did crossword puzzles, still lived at home, had all his faculties, was really funny up until the end. He's free and he's at peace. He doesn't have to deal with any of the hardships of life anymore. And I'm going to dedicate an Irish goodbye to my father tomorrow night and give Joe Biden a shout out and thank him for calling my dad, and making his birthday so special.
Wow. I'm sorry you had to lose him 2 weeks ago.
Thank you, Elliot. It's okay. He was beyond ready. He was good to go. But he had no illness, and he took no medication. I mean, everybody takes medication, pretty much. He took none, and he was just nicest guy, kind-hearted, really generous, giving man, and really funny. We all loved the dickens out of him, and I feel him with me now. I'll carry him in my heart all my days. I'm certainly going to bring him on stage tomorrow night at the Queen. That's for sure.
That's awesome. I remember when you sent me the little blurb about all the stuff you've done, and you mentioned it earlier. You had the chance to play with Bruce Springsteen. I also read that you had the chance to play with Ringo Starr. A while ago, you opened for The Who. That is a lot of very high-profile artists, and I mean, for me to get like an email from you saying, "Oh, I want to do an interview with WVUD," is like, wow, this is crazy. We're getting Willie Nile in here. Was there any time in your career when you had an artist like reach out to you like that, and you were just like, "Wow, I'm gonna get to play with who?" Or were you just like, "Yeah, I know what I've got. This is coming along."
I've been very fortunate, Elliot, and I put my first record out in 1980, and I had heard that Pete Townsend was a big fan of the album, and I didn't believe it. I just thought it was some record company nonsense. And then the band and I toured across the U.S., and we played in Los Angeles, and the Who's management came out to the show, and we got invited to tour across the whole U.S., opening up for the Who night after night. And I'm a Who fan from way back, when I was a kid. You can imagine it was so much fun, and they couldn't have been nicer. To this day, Pete Townsend, Roger Daltrey, we still keep in touch. I played with them in 2015 with the Who band. I've done shows with Roger Daltrey a few years ago. Great guys. And with Ringo Starr, I mean, who thinks about? Well, I'm going to write songs and try to make records for a living. Who really thinks in their wildest dreams they're going to get to? With Ringo, I get by with a little help from my friends. I got to open up a bunch of shows for him. He couldn't have been nicer. Ringo, the Who, Bruce Springsteen. Bruce has been so good to me. Like he invited me to come and sing at Giants Stadium in front of 70,000 people. And I was on stage. We sang one song. I went off, and he's yelling to the audience, "Get Willie back up here." And so I went back up for another 20 minutes. And he's a great guy. He's a great rocker. And, he's a fan of music. And I've been very, very fortunate to be able to play with some of my heroes. And I mean, I'm still pinching myself, you just don't expect something like that to happen. I've been very, very lucky. You just never know. You write a song, you record it. That came out on a major label, which I was very fortunate. And you never know where the music's going to go. I get letters from Japan, from South America, Europe. And, the music reaches places you never even imagine, And again, I'm all for believing in your dreams, because you never know where they'll take you. Mm-hmm. Life is hard for everybody, and music can lift our spirits. It lifts my spirits, and tomorrow night when we play at the Queen, my band and I, and anybody who comes will see why, we've been able to have the success we've had in it. So I'm forever pinching myself, and I'm very grateful for the good fortune that I've had, Elliot. I'm lucky.
A lot of our audience is younger musicians. I've worked with the radio station. I know that there's a lot of younger folks in Newark trying to figure out where they can go from just playing in little house basements to maybe go into larger venues and stuff. I think it would be interesting if you could tell us, what was your path from kind of just a young songwriter to getting that first record deal? I think some of the people out there who would be listening might want to hear wow, if that's how that happened, maybe I could follow in those footsteps.
Well, I think first of all, to follow your heart, do something. If you write songs, play stuff, play music that means something to you, because people can tell, just if it means something to you, there's a chance it might mean something to somebody else. For me, I was in 1978. I mean, I was playing on Bleecker Street, Greenwich Village, opening up shows, and Robert Palmer, legendary critic, came to review the headliner the night I was playing. I was opening up, and he called the club to ask what time's the headliner go on. And Robert Palmer coming out to his show is a big deal. And so he says he goes on at 9. And my friend, the manager, Don Hill, said, but you want to come at 8. You need to see the guy opening up. And I was just playing solo acoustic guitar. But I was having a ball. I was introducing imaginary characters, I was having fun with it, jumping off the stage to end a song. Anyway, so Robert Palmer, much to his credit, came early to see my show. And he wrote a review in the New York Times that if you and I tried to write a review, a rave, we couldn't. I mean, he wrote some review, compared me to Bob Dylan and Buddy Holly and whatnot. And it got me, the next night when I came in to play, you couldn't get in the club. It was packed to the rafters. People coming to see the new Hot Shot, And Clive Davis was one of the people who came, and he signed me to Arista Records. So I went from opening up shows, like I'm really, nothing going on, to signing with a major record deal. The next thing I know, I'm touring across the United States, opening up for 20,000 people a night.
Wow.
Opening up for the Who. So I think I never expected any of that. Anybody listening, a musician of any kind, singer, songwriter, a good player, a musician, keyboard player, drummer, whatever, just believe what you're doing. Give it everything you got, and just put your best foot out there. You never know where your dreams will take you. You just don't. And it's really worth it. Think about a band like U2, or they started out about kids, put a band together, and they play stadiums, and whatever. Think of a band you like, Mumford & Sons, whatever. They started somewhere. And I think the key is to follow your own heart and believe, do what feels right for you. Do it so that it means something to you. It's not about showing off or whatever. It's not about the fame. For me, it never has been. It's about the music, and the spirit that lies within that. And I mean, anybody who hears any of my music will get that right away. I'm not a glory boy. I don't need adoration. That's for the birds. Money, I'll take. That's different. but fame is a whole other, can of worms. And I never pursued that. I was just pursuing music. So I would just say, anybody, follow your heart, give everything you got, and believe what you're doing. Because if you believe it, then there's a chance somebody else will see you and they'll believe it too. And a good time can be had by all.
You had mentioned back in the 70s when you were starting to pick up traction with people, you were compared to Bob Dylan, and I know you have a Bob Dylan cover album. Would you consider him one of your influences? Yeah. Or really, I mean, I remember reading.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I remember reading that there was a lot of musical influence in your childhood, but you listed a couple different genres, none of that were clearly related, and none of which were necessarily kind of rock and roll adjacent. So what other influences did you have, like growing up? Who did you really kind of cling on to and be like, man, that's a sound that I want to be like, or those are people that I think, they've got something that I want to try to do with my own little flavor?
Well, I come from a big family, and my older brothers used to bring home rock and roll records. And as a little kid, I heard the first wave of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, Buddy Holly, Fats Domino, Everly Brothers, Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard, Chuck Berry. I mean, come on. And I just love that stuff. I grew up, there was a lot of classical music in my home. There was big band music, but I got a full-on dose of rock and roll and loved it. And then when the Beatles hit, and the British invasion, Beatles, the Stones, and Dylan, absolutely. I mean, nobody wrote like that. He broke so many barriers with the songwriting and influenced everybody in a positive way. And it was a great era to grow up in, the middle 60s. The music was amazing. But there's so many great writers, Leonard Cohen, Dylan. I could just mention so many names, Bob for sure, big influence. I met him a few times, always been very nice. I mean, my journey's been pretty crazy in the places it's taken me, and the people I've met along the way. I never, in my wildest dreams, never would have imagined. I've been on the BBC with legendary DJ Johnny Walker, playing songs, telling stories. It's been amazing. I'm a very lucky guy.
So kind of a follow-up question to that we always like to ask people coming through here, it's one thing to hear the influences of an artist. What are artists that you're listening to right now? Have there been any artists that have really kind of captivated your attention in like the past month or week? Or if you had any earworms stuck in your head that like, man, this is really good, I just can't get it out of my head?
Well, there's so many good artists. There's a songwriter lives in New Jersey now. His name is James Maddock, Maddock. Great songwriter. He's kind of a cross between Van Morrison. His voice, his songwriting, and his voice like Rod Stewart. James is great. I love Mumford & Sons. I like, what have I been listening to recently? Well, I always got the Ramones' greatest hits on. That's always good fun.
Nice, good one. Yep.
My bass player Johnny Paisano toured with Marky Ramone for about 5 years. And he said they would go to South America, and there'd be thousands and thousands of people because it's one of the Ramones. And there's who I like these days. I heard an artist the other night, a new one, Sophie Gault, Gault. Just put a record out called Unhinged. It's brand new. I saw her play in Greenwich Village, and I thought she was great. She's inspired by Lucinda Williams. She loves Lucinda. Lucinda's a good friend of mine, and I wrote Lucinda about her. So check out Sophie Gault, Gault. The album is called Unhinged. She's real good. That's the latest thing I just heard, literally Sunday night.
I'll have to check my little inbox to see. I get like 20 some emails a day of new artists that are submitting stuff. I'll have to see if she's in there, because if she is, I'll put her on air with your word and saying, hey, if Willie Nile likes it, then it's going on WVUD.
I see a sign for Wilmington.
Hey-o. Well, you're getting close.
We're not far away.
Watch out. You're getting in my territory, so. Well,
I can't wait. We can't wait.
Well, we're getting close to about the half an hour mark, and I know since you're on the road, you're on the phone, that's give you time to focus, make sure you're not swerving all over the place. So I think one final question to wrap up for you today is, what should we expect from you going forward? I know we've got the Queen show tomorrow night, but after that, when could people see you? Are there any future releases? Are you going in the studio anytime soon, or are you not at liberty to tell a young folk like me?
Well, I'm always writing, Elliot, and I'm putting together a batch of new songs for another record, and I haven't scheduled time to go in yet, but I'm writing it now, and there's a guy making a documentary about me that we've been working on for a number of years, and it could be interesting. We've got a lot of interesting people in it. It's about New York. It's about bohemian living. It's about never giving up. It's about giving it everything you got. And we've got some, amazing guests appearing. And they're editing the movie now. I'm not sure when it'll come out, but I'm having more fun now than ever. Been this for a long time, and I don't think it's ever been more fun than now. I think that just the quality of the albums and the live shows is just still improving, believe it or not, and I'm very, very grateful for it. So I'm ever onward, ever onward.
That is awesome to hear, and I'll be excited to see that documentary. I'll definitely recommend it to people when it comes out.
Thank you, Elliot. Thank you. I think it's going to be interesting. It takes place in New York, the Northeast, Italy, the UK, Buffalo, It's got a lot of good rock and roll, and I think it'll be a touching and moving story. I'm looking forward to it myself, and I hope it doesn't suck. I would say anybody listening, you probably don't know my music. If you want to come out and have a new experience, it's ageless. It's rock and roll, but it's feel good stuff. I guarantee anybody who's got the blues are going to feel better when they come out. When they leave the place, they'll feel a lot better when they. That's generally how it goes. We have a good time, and we'll play our asses off, and it'll be a shared experience. And I can't say enough about the band. So I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night playing the Queen.
Well, we look forward to having you. I think that is going to wrap it up for here. So on behalf of WVUD, on behalf of Delaware, thank you so much, Willie, for calling in today. I know it's not the easiest when you're on the road, but the fact that you reached out to us with this opportunity is fantastic. So thank you. We are all excited to listen to your music and to have you in Wilmington.
Well, thank you very much. It's much appreciated. Thanks for taking the time to talk, and for the kind words and the interest. It's much appreciated, Elliot. And anybody comes out, money back guarantee if you don't love it.
Well, I'll be there, so I might take you up on that offer. No. Alrighty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Willie Nile.